Hi, this is Tranisha Cottrell, and today I wanted to talk about benevolent. So, I have some people that are outside doing some work in the yard, and hopefully it won't get too loud. It might get too loud at one point, and I might have to cut the video off and then just come back a little later or something, but just to let you know ahead of time. So, what made me want to talk about benevolent is earlier today I was listening to this sermon and going through courses, like not a real course, just like a free course that was available to others. And so I went and I listened to this course and gained some new information about just working on self-improvement, ways to better myself, things that I can do to be a better person because like I always say, I'm always striving to be better and the work is never done. And so whenever I learn something new, whether it's a term or something else, I try to share it with others because I feel like if it helped me, it might be able to help someone else. And so I did do research, of course, on being benevolent and different other things that really stood out to me that really they really spoke to my core. They spoke to my spirit. And so I felt like this would be something that might be able to help in my serving. And so I went and I read this article on Psychology Today on benevolence, and it gave me an insight into how being benevolent can even change your energy and your spirit. And it can allow you to be blocked. It can block certain things from your life. So, you know, when you are putting out certain energy, like when you're upset or when you're happy, and then you get back that same type of energy, benevolence is kind of that thing. Benevolence means that you're being kind to others. It means that you are warm and you just you are really putting out good energy towards others. And benevolence is not energy. I'm going to give you the definition because I want to make sure that you understand because I'm saying what I gain from it and things that I may be able to use in my life to be able to implement it in one way or another. So of course, I'm always taking notes. So so I wrote down benevolence is good intentions toward living beings, including yourself. So being kind to yourself and others. In essence, being kind to yourself and others. In other words. And so when I was reading the article on Psychology Today, it really gave me some insight into different things or different types of ways that it would be used in your life. And as I read through this article and I learned about how it has to do with being warm and loving and, you know, ordinary decency, fair play, kindness, and generosity, love is words that were similar to benevolence. And when it said good intentions towards others, it made me think of how cynical I can think sometimes and how in the past I would always think that every person was going to be mean or rude or nasty towards me and they just were always going to I never thought that I would meet a kind-hearted person or someone who would actually be a good individual. And and the more I read this article, the more it made me think of maybe that's why I attracted those type of people because that's the type of energy that I put out. If I had just had a clear vision for others that were coming into my life, just no real intentions on whether they were going to be good or bad, and allowing them to just be themselves, and then they would either be good or bad. Not just me constantly focusing on only someone being bad. And it would have gave me better insight. It would have gave me, I think, I would have had a better outcome if I would have been willing to lead with benevolence instead of leading with disdain and just being so blocked off and guarded towards other people. And it's not that I I don't want to say I never met anyone that was kind because, I have people in my family and things like that that are kind people. But when it came to other people, for the most part, it was always not a good experience. And so, but I wasn't the person that I am today either. So sometimes, depending on where we are in our life, we can have these ideals of what we expect someone to be. Or even now, there might be expectations, like false expectations that we put on other people when they need to be who they are. They can't be who you want them to be, no matter how badly you want them to be this or that. They have to live their own life. And so sometimes even just you being a kind person allows people to be kind back to you. And some people are just not going to be good people, but it has nothing to do with you. That's just their personality. But for the most part, since I rededicated my life to God, since I've been leading with love and kindness, and I hope you can hear me because but since I've been leading with love and kindness, I really have noticed that the people that surround me, the friends that I meet, the people that come into my life have all been so nice and kind hearted, and they've been like so generous, so benevolent. And it's really a breath of fresh air. I never would imagine that I could ever have people like that in my life. I always thought that I always thought that all people just wanted to hurt me. And I know it's like it's so I just it's so narrow-minded for me to think that everyone could be exactly the same when everyone's their own individual person. So I did want to go through the things that I learned from the sermon earlier, but I also don't want to go too much in depth. And the pastor was just talking about ways that you would prevent someone from loving you. And this could be friends, it could be whoever enters your life. And it really some of the things really made me think about my life and the things that I would want, the type of people that I want in my life. And the first thing, I think it's like I'm going to try not to be too long because I don't know how long it's going to be like this and not super loud, but if it gets loud, I'll like do like a pause or something, and that'll be a moment where you can think about the things or something. But it's 7 things. So number one was being indifferent to good treatment. So when when the pastor said this, it really made me think about how I always expected people to be mean, or like even if I met someone who was a nice person, I always expected the worst. I just treated it as if it wasn't a big deal, or like not like that I didn't care, but I was always expecting for the other shoe to drop. I was always expecting for the person to just become like this mean person who was going to hurt me in one way or another, or leave, or like just really try to hurt me in one way or another. And so it said that when you when you treat people as if their good behavior isn't good enough, or you don't acknowledge the fact that they're doing the right thing, it'll make them feel like being good is non-existent. And in turn, they will start treating you the way that you expect them to treat you instead of the way they should be treating you. And I think that's so true. I think that's so true because I noticed that when I had a negative attitude, when I really just expected everyone to hurt me, most of the people did. Now that I am more Now that I am more positive, I notice that most of the people that come into my life are decent people. And they're people who are kind and considerate of my feelings, and they really do seem like they care about my well-being. And I notice that it's mostly because my outlook is different, because I am willing to be more understanding, because I'm more compassionate, because I actually am leading with love and kindness. So it's almost as if because that's what I'm putting out there, that's what I'm receiving. And so the second thing is rendering disrespect for someone's meekness. Oof. Meekness. This should have been the name of the video, but maybe I'll do another video on it. But depending on if God wants me to and allows me to. But it just says a person's meekness should be honored. And so meekness is just something that is your gentleness. It's one of those things that get misconstrued often because people will think that being meek means being weak. I was about to start rhyming, but I'm not going to do that. But but meekness is not a weakness. Oh my goodness, I did it again. It really is a strength that it takes someone who's willing to grow and be better, to do better, to lead in a way that God intended them to, or to be the type of person that God intended them to be. And I think that when people show us a vulnerable side, when our friends do, when potential people do, we really need to be cautious and we really need to be understanding instead of just rushing to judgment or not allowing a space for people to be themselves. Because it's something about when a person feels comfortable enough to just be themselves with you that really grows a relationship. So the next thing was don't be so I want to use the right word for this. Don't be so about your business that you don't allow for your friends to have space in your life. Like, I work a lot and I don't want to say a lot. I do a good job at like scheduling things and making sure that I make time for things that really matter to me. And especially when it comes to my family or something like that. And so so I could see how this could become an issue because sometimes there are like events or things that come up and my friends or some other people could say things like, "Oh, let's do something such and such day." And I might want to go make extra money doing blah, or I might think about, going to this event that I really wanted to go to, but you have to really make time for the people that you really truly care about. You can't just be all about business and then never give yourself an opportunity to live your life, to enjoy the fruits of your labor. And for me, that was hard at the beginning because I just felt like I had to really just do everything. Like I'm the type of person that never wants to ask for help. I always want to do everything on my own. And my my family is so amazing and my friends are so amazing because I guess because they know me so well. So if something comes up, if I need something, if I need help with something, if I'm going through something, it's like they all rally around me, like as if God was speaking to them on my behalf, like, hey, she really needs you right now. And I might not say, hey, to my friends, just be like, hey, I'm really struggling right now. I need you. But my friends will like call and check up on me at the exact moment when I felt like I needed someone. And it's so amazing because it's like he is always looking out for me in ways that I would have never imagined, ways that I would have never thought to ask for help. It's like he already knew that I was going to need something in that moment and he gave it to me. And it's just so incredible. It really is. And I know you hear me say it and it probably sounds over the top or you think it's just unrealistic or whatever. I'm just being like overly religious or whatever else. But when God graced you through the things that you've done in your life and you made a lot of mistakes and it should have killed you or taken you out of here, or you shouldn't be able to just walk around as if none of those things have happened to you in your past. And he really gave you a clean slate, like you could really start over in your life, then you would be giving him all the glory as well. Like, it's not that I'm doing it for pretend. I'm not doing it for myself. I'm literally doing it because he's that amazing. and because I want other people to know how amazing he is. And I want to serve in any way that I can because I wasted a lot of time doing things for my own selfish needs, for my own, just because I wanted to do them for myself. I mean, every once in a while, I have my moments where I'm just like, oh, I really want this. I gotta have this right now. But after that one time that I did that, I want to say you don't have to worry about me, but I don't know the future. So I would like to hope that in the future I don't have that issue ever again because God's way is the best way. Real talk. And so the next thing is not showing tenderness towards the person that is around you. Sometimes when our friends are weak, I don't do this, but I have seen other people do this. You might go and just be like, oh, well, you remember that person did this, or you like keeping all these records of the wrongs that your friends have done, or you are thinking about them being weak in an area or whatever. And instead of you being more compassionate, you use it against your friend and you're just saying things like, oh, well, I'm not going to listen to her because she does blah, 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 blah. But your friend might really be looking out for you. They might not live the perfect life or make the best decisions in the moment like everyone else. They make mistakes. I'm not saying that your friend's a hot mess and you just take bad advice from them. I'm just saying most of the times our friends are looking out for us and they tell us the truth that we don't want to hear. And sometimes when we hear that truth, we might feel like, oh, well, we're just going to not worry about them because they have this one weakness. But everyone has a strength and a weakness. You can't just lump them into one category because you don't want to hear it in that moment. Sometimes we have to be real tender with the people that are around us, especially people that we care about, instead of just making them feel a certain type of way because we want things our way or we want them to behave a certain way. But that's not realistic. The next thing is tolerating instead of celebrating the people in your life. I I used to give so much attention to people who never cared about me. And the people who were around all the time, I would take it for granted and just be like, "Oh, well, they're there for me anyway, so let me just go and kiss this person's behind that doesn't care anything about me." And I'm saying that because I want to be real and transparent, not because I wanted to be used against me and people to be judging me. But it is what it is. People are going to do what they want to do. But if it helps someone, then it's worth it. So, so I used to do that. And I'm not ashamed to say that because I said used to. That was in the past before I rededicated my life to God, before I started really understanding that life is precious. And I know some people are gonna like try to go against that and say, yeah, life is what you make it. I can do something else the next day, whatever else you want to tell yourself. I understand we all have our own perception of things, and that's fine. And I also understand that for me, my life is precious. And me being able to cherish the people around me means more to me than anything at this age, at this time in my life, especially after all the things I've been through. So when I have people in my life who truly care about me, I try to make sure that I appreciate them as much as possible. That I'm really giving time and effort towards like my family and my friends. I really am letting them know that I appreciate them and I'm celebrating them being in my life. I'm not just acting like it's another day or acting as if I don't care. Like life isn't precious. I'm making sure that I am doing everything that I can to be the best version, the best friend, the best family member, the best sister, the best whatever else. Number 6, when when someone is in touch with their emotions and you use it against them. So I don't think I've done this. I don't know. I can't remember a time that I've done this. So I'm not going to say I have or haven't done this. But sometimes people will be vulnerable with you and they may be feeling emotional about something. And instead of you being compassionate, you just start to judge them or you make them feel badly for feeling the way that they feel. And what that does is it blocks people from being able to feel like they can express themselves to you. It makes them feel like whatever they feel is not important enough for you to be compassionate about it, for you to gain understanding or to want to learn why they're hurting or why something affected them in this way. And I see some parents do it sometimes with their kids as well. Like their kids will be crying and they're like, "What are you crying for? I'll give you something to cry about." Things like that. Instead of really gaining understanding on why your child is crying, why it bothers them, why it's making them feel the way that they are, or emotional, or upset, or what it is that they're truly feeling, so that they know that their feelings are valid, instead of feeling like as if they have to hide the way that they feel. Because I think it's really important for everyone in your life to feel comfortable being able to feel sad if they need to feel sad. Like for me, I I think I've been upset around I don't think I have a problem being upset around my friends, but I sometimes, or even in the past, I would like hide how I felt about certain stuff, and I would be bothered by something and something would really upset me, and or I would be heartbroken, and instead of like me calling people and saying, "Hey, I'm really going through a tough time right now," I would try to handle it on my own. And I really would just be alone in my sadness. And that's one of the most dangerous things that you can do, especially when you have people in your life that really truly care about you. So instead of making it seem as if someone's emotions aren't real, or neglecting the way that they feel, or trying to make it seem as if their feelings aren't relevant or they don't matter, really listen to the person and understand why they feel that way. I'm not saying you need to be the person that they pour all of their burdens on and you just have to take in all of this stuff that you can't handle. I'm saying that you should at least be compassionate and understanding, so that they know that they have a place to turn, so that it's not that they're trying to carry a burden on their own. And the more you allow them to be themselves and talk and express themselves, the more comfortable they'll feel expressing things like sadness, or when something really horrible happens in their life. For me, I wanted to present myself as strong so much. Like even now, I have I have a real problem with like just being vulnerable sometimes, because I don't want to be seen as weak. I don't want to be taken advantage of and used or mistreated because I can be emotional, or because I have real feelings. And sometimes I have to remind myself, hey, it's okay to feel. It's okay to feel feelings, to be emotional, to be in your emotions, to not just be tough all the time, to not just always have to be so strong that you can never be vulnerable. You have to be vulnerable with someone. And and it's not easy. I have to really be intentional with it, because I'm aware that I do that, because I'm aware that I push people away. I have to really set my mind on making sure that I am intentional with my life, that I'm not just pushing away people because I'm expecting the worst out of them. I really really truly am giving people a real chance. And in order for me to do that, I have to be real with myself. I have to acknowledge the fact that it's it's not always going to be easy for and not that I would just show everyone my emotions, but when someone has been in my life who is really, really, truly does care about how I feel about things, I'll I try to be intentional with my emotions, with showing my emotions, instead of just trying to hide everything and pretend like I'm so strong that I don't need anyone. So that's one of the things that I've been learning on this journey. And the last thing is to always make sure that you are taking care of yourself. You have people in your life, you may feel like, oh, well, I need to help this person, I need to help that person, I need to do all of these things. Meanwhile, you're drowning. Meanwhile, you have nothing left to give to yourself. It's so important for you to make sure that you're okay, so that you can pour into other people. You can't pour from an empty well. I know I say that phrase all the time, but it just always fits in almost every message. And it's really true, because the more I take care of myself, the more I feel like I can help and take care of other people. The more I feel like if someone needs me to serve in a place, or they need me to give my time or my energy, I feel like I can actually do it, because I feel full already. I've already been speaking life into myself. I've already been reading. I've already been listening to sermons. I've been reading my Bible. I've been writing. I've been being intentional with my life and allowing God to pour in my life. And because He's pouring into my life, it allows me to give other people something that they need. And I'm going to say in conclusion, because I don't want this to be too long. And I feel like everything that was on my heart to say, I've said. But in conclusion, try to lead with benevolence, because you leading with kindness and being caring, a caring, compassionate person, it really does reduce quarrels. It reduces angst. It reduces you being guarding yourself off from people who actually care about you. It makes you put out all of this negative energy instead of allowing people to come and attract themselves to you, whether that's friends or whatever else. And people want to be around people who are kind, who are compassionate, who are caring. And if you get out of your own way and you allow yourself to just be a kind, loving person, you will receive those things in your life. Not because you do deserve it, but not because you are saying, I need this right now, but because people can feel that on you. And it's almost like when you go into a store or something and you're in a good mood and you see the person who's like super mad, and it's like, I'm in a good mood, but I don't want to smile right now. And it's because that energy from that person is, you can feel all that negative energy, all that anger. And instead of you feeling like peaceful and calm and just like, it's just like easy breezy, it feels like tense and like stressful. So I wrote something else on here. Oh, I wrote this earlier because when I was reading Benevolence, it really made me think about this. It says, when I prejudge others by lumping everyone into a group, when I say everyone has bad intentions, I'm being the opposite of benevolent. And I did say that, some version of that earlier. But it really hit home when I read that in Psychology Today, because when you do lump everybody into one category, when you really are making it seem as if every person's going to be out to get you, or every person's going to be mean to you, you are attracting that to you. And I don't know about you, but I'm tired of those type of people in my life. I really need some good people with good, that are coming from a good place, with good intentions, that really truly care about me, that really want to get to know the type of person I truly am in my heart, and not just someone who wants to use me or doesn't care about my well-being. I don't need another person like that in my life. I need people who are godly, who really truly want to be a decent person, a decent friend. They want to be a decent boss. Things like that. I really really need those type of people in my life. And I know you're probably saying, well, a boss can be however they are, because you still have to do your job. Yes, but it only takes one person to make a job seem more stressful than it has to be. And I'm in a place in my life that I know God will provide for me. I also know that if I have a choice, my choice is always going to be to work with someone who treats me well, not to work with someone who, talks down to me and is really, really horrible towards their employees or anything like that. I want to make sure that the person is truly, truly cares about their employees. I want to make sure that the friends that I have truly care about my well-being. They really, really care about how I feel about things, and they're not just acting like my feelings don't matter, or acting as if, it's one-sided or whatever else. And when it comes to a person who I build a friendship with the intentions of being in a relationship or whatever else, the person would need to be benevolent. They would, I would hope that they would have good intentions towards me and themselves. I don't, I don't want to say I don't want, but it's really uncomfortable when someone doesn't have good intentions for themselves and they say that they want to be with you, because how can someone truly love you or begin to love you if they don't love themselves? Hence, first love yourself. I know shameless, shameless plug. But really, truly, before I found God and before I started loving myself, I don't think I could have truly ever loved anybody, ever. And I might have thought that I felt like I loved people, like, I lusted them or something like that. But now that I know what real love is, I can't I can't imagine someone truly saying that they love me when they don't love themselves, when they don't know what love from God feels like. And that might just be my thing because, I'm religious and I'm a Christian, but really, when you feel God's love is unlike anything else. It fills every void that you've ever could have imagined that you had, any void that you ever could have had in your life. Anything that you ever been through has been healed. And like the one pastor said, when you get with the right person, they help you heal in certain areas of your life that you didn't know that you needed healing. Like God heals those areas that are broken by mending those broken pieces in you. He breaks off things that you don't need and builds things that you do need to make you into the person He created you to be. But He also, I believe, sends people in your life who help heal you in certain areas. That it's still all God because God is allowing those people to be a part of your life. And because He's allowed them to be a part of your life, He has them assigned to heal you. So try leading with a benevolent heart because try leading with benevolence with others and yourself because you really truly do have to look at things with a good perspective to get the things that you want in life.